I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. CAVIL, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 620 of Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. This is the Indie Report, and I might have some friends that's coming with me later on on the show. But welcome to episode 620 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU's athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, David L. Rose, and along with my co-hosts, we're not here right now. They're all on assignment. That'll be Brandon King, Tariq Wilson, and Jeffrey Johnson. We are filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. I hope you guys didn't miss us. I could take some level of ownership of why we did not have a show the past few weeks. 2 weeks prior, I was flying out to go compete. Last week I had a prior engagement I had in the plans. Next week I might have an engagement as well, but I'm trying to figure that out as we speak. But things have been kind of wacky across the world and wacky across and crazy across the HBCU diaspora as well with everything that's been going on. Reports came out that about a brand new game, I guess they call it the Legacy Series between Tennessee State and Alabama A&M, which pretty much seals the deal that the Southern Heritage Classic is highly unlikely not to occur. Well, we know for a fact it's not going to occur with Tennessee State. But I think it's great. I guess Tennessee State and Alabama A&M is a big rivalry game that I'm happy that they're bringing it back. It's great to have games that are within close proximity, make it a home and home. I think that's a golden opportunity for those two institutions from that standpoint. Also, while I was away, we got the HBCU Las Vegas Classic that's happening with Jackson State and Grambling. That's going to be October 25th, which is the same day as the Magic City Classic. So that's going to be a big weekend in HBCU sports. I believe FAMU and Southern is also playing that weekend as well. So that's going to be a big weekend in HBCU sports. As somebody who loves going to Las Vegas, I wish I could pull it off, and maybe time will tell if I'll be able to pull it off, but I'm never going to feel a way about having an HBCU game in Las Vegas, because it's clear that the West Coast is in my opinion, is an untapped market. I think we saw that over the weekend with the Honda Battle of the Bands, that happened over the weekend. You had the Blue and Gold March Machine. You had Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Human Jukebox, Southern University. You had some phenomenal. Hampton was there as well. You had some phenomenal institutions, and they had over 60,000 people there for the Battle of the Bands out there in LA. So that was an excellent event. I had a couple buddies that went out there for the trip. So the West Coast has always been known as the untapped market because they don't really have HBCUs up there. The Northeast is kind of similar in that regard too. Because last week, crazy enough, part of the reason why I couldn't go, I went to HBCU night for the Boston Celtics. So, I mean, HBCUs are in certain regions of this country, it's still a market that we can attack, particularly on the West Coast and the Northeast. So I always, and the Midwest as well. So I always love to see when we have events out there. So I'm looking forward to see how the Las Vegas Classic goes. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Tennessee State and Alabama A&M. I need to make an excuse to get back to normal Alabama and try to catch a game at Alabama A&M. I'm going to the John Merrick this year when Tennessee State plays A&T. So, and I've been to both campuses, and those are both beautiful campuses. So I'm looking forward to that trip as well. Also, I wanted to give a couple shout outs. shout out to Lady Aggie basketball. They're pushing, and I want to discuss Dr. CAVIL'S top 5, particularly on the men and the women's side, but particularly on the women's side, because I saw that he put Texas Southern at number 2, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not a few. I understand that they're still unbeaten. I don't think they are anymore at this point, but when he had his last ranking, they were unbeaten. I think they still are, but I have to double check. But at this point in the game, I think that A&T should be number 2. I understand they recently had a conference loss, but they've been rolling in that conference. And they're doing what they're supposed to do, right? They're 8-1. They have a 1-game lead in the conference right now, so I think A&T should be number 2. I'm not going to put them above Norfolk State, primarily due to the head-to-head. Injuries withstanding, that doesn't matter. I mean, they played each other, and A&T was one of the more competitive games that they've had in the HBCU front. I think us and Morgan were the only schools that kept the game within double digits against them. They've been pretty much going on a tear all season. Norfolk State is by far the best women's basketball team in HBCU sports. Diamond Johnson is a star. On the men's side, Southern being number 1, completely understand. There's a debate on whether or not Norfolk should be there or not. They had a game winner against the school down the road, which made me smile. And that game winner was that buzzer beater game winner that was pretty much a half court shot, made the Sports Center top 10 as well for Norfolk State. So shout out to the men of Norfolk State. They're rolling right now. I think they're far and away the best team in the MEAC right now. I know some folks might disagree, but I think they are. The tournament will be interesting though, because I think there's a couple teams that are hitting their stride. I think South Carolina State could be a threat in that tournament. Howard's going to be interesting if they can get healthy from that regard as well. But I do want to talk about some track as well. So shout out to the Aggies. The track team is finally making strides. It looks like they're gonna they have a legitimate shot to win the conference in the indoor track this season, which is beautiful. The men's track athlete of the week was Tahi Bowie from who's a freshman. He finished second in the triple jump, and that's first in the CAA and 33rd in the nation. So shout out to that young man for doing what he has to do in regards to that. It's going to be fascinating to see if the Aggies can finally pull away and get a win. And shout out to Penaya Mutusia from Hampton. She's a freshman as well from Kenya. And I know I probably butchered her name, and I apologize for that. She was the women's track athlete of the week for the CAA as well. She set the program record for the 3,000 meters with the 8 minutes and 59 seconds. So she's 14th in the country right now in that event. So shout out to her. So I'm waiting for the rest of the folks from my group to get out. I don't want to talk about a lot of the other topics because there's a couple of things I do want to discuss. Like I want to get back into discussing the classics, but I want to wait till some of the crew gets in here to discuss it. And I also want to discuss what's been going on in Aggieland regarding this whole gambling situation. So I wanted to try to give you my perspective on that, but I want to wait until the rest of the co-hosts make the appearance for that. So with that, I would like to take the first break. And when we come back, we'll discuss some of the scores in the independents and go from there and talk about the upcoming games for Hampton, Tennessee State, and North Carolina A&T. This is Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, episode 620. And we'll be right back after this break.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted CAVIL'S voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. CAVERSVOICE.com. CAVIL'S Voice, CAVIL'S Voice, CAVIL'sVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to episode 620 of Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, the Indy Report. I just want to go over some scores real fast and discuss what's been going on within the CAA and the OVC. So we'll start off with the CAA right now for the men's side. Currently, we'll start with Hampton. Hampton on last Thursday, they lost to Northeastern 78-69. And then on Saturday, they beat Howard by 1 point. So currently, Hampton is currently 3-7 in the conference. And, you know, they've been playing better. They've been playing pretty well from that standpoint. It's they got a brand new head coach. I anticipate that this is going to be their growth year. I wish I could say the same for North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T had one game over the weekend, and prior to that game, they had to suspend three players. Three players for breaking team rules. But on January 30th, they played UNC Wilmington, who was one of the best teams in the conference. They're 17-5, 7-2 in the CAA. And they lost by 24, 83-59. They did stay competitive at the beginning of the game within the first half, and then it got out of hand towards the end of the first half, and then they just ran it through from that point on to the end of the game. I will say that A&T did play better. They played more team ball. The three players that were suspended, two out of those three players are the leading scorers for that particular team. So for A&T. So they did lose a lot of points with regards to that, but as a whole, they played better team ball. But it's not right now. It's currently not equating to wins. And now, although they were playing it, like I said, they were playing up against UNC Wilmington, who's one of the better teams in the conference. They're going to have some challenges to see if they can pull out a conference win. I think they probably might have another opportunity in about a week and a half from now. I believe they play Stony Brook. They play Charleston first. They play Charleston on Thursday, and that's going to be live on CBS Sports Network. So it'll be on national television. So we play Charleston at TD Arena. And also that day, Hampton is playing Monmouth, which is a winnable game for Hampton. Monmouth is 7-16 overall, 5-5 in the conference. Although Hampton only has 3 wins in conference, I think that's a winnable game for Hampton against Monmouth. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe they can take advantage of the depth with regards to that. So looks like next week A&T only has one game going into the weekend. Hampton also plays Northeastern, another winnable game for Hampton. Northeastern is 12-11, 4-6 in the conference. So both of those games are winnable games for Hampton, to say the least. Fun fact: A&T's next 2 games are both going to be on CBS Sports Network. They play Charleston this Thursday, and then they also have the Monday night game on February 10th against Campbell. At Campbell. So we got 2 nationally televised games coming up. Both of them are on the road. They go to Charleston on Thursday, then they go to Campbell. And Campbell has been on a tear on the men's side so far over the past few weeks, and they've been beating teams by 30 to 40 points in that conference. They're 7-3 in the CAA, 12-11 overall. There's a legitimate concern from my perspective that A&T might potentially not win any conference games this year in conference. It's a big concern in that regard. I was concerned about that before the players were getting suspended, and now with those 3 players getting suspended, it's a valid concern with regards to that. So hopefully they can try to pull an upset and get one of these wins. It'll be interesting to see if that can possibly happen. Moving on to the men's side with the in the OVC, Tennessee State, they beat on January 3rd. They beat Little Rock 72-70, and on Saturday, February 1st, they lost to SEMO, so the Southeast Missouri State, 89-87. Right now, Tennessee State is 10-13, 6-6 overall in the OVC. All the teams in the OVC don't make. I believe it's only 8 that make it in the tournament for the OVC. And currently based on the standings in the OVC, let me pull those up real fast. I believe that they would make the postseason, right? They would make the OVC tournament right now. They're in it today. They're 6-6. That's good enough for 6th in the conference. But they want to try to get a higher seed, and rightfully so. But right now they're in postseason play with regards to that. Now on the women's side, A&T played Hampton for Greek night. Let me pull it up real fast. A&T for Greek night on Friday. A&T played Hampton and they won 74-51. Hampton's currently 5-15, 1-8 in the CAA. A&T is 12-8, 8-1 in the CAA. They are pretty much going on the A&T's been on a tear. They had a tough loss to Monmouth while we were away. But outside of that, they've been pretty much rolling within the conference. They did not have a game on Sunday. I believe Hampton did have a game on Sunday, and Hampton did not have a game on Sunday either. So their next games coming up is this Friday. Charleston comes to town to Club Corbett, and Hampton goes to Townsend. Townsend currently is 3-6 in the conference, 5-15 overall. Winnable game for Hampton, so Hampton might have an opportunity to get their second conference win. Even though Townsend is always tough. They have they're a tough team, but they're 3-6 overall in the CAA. A&T plays Charleston. Charleston's is the highest rated team in the net, but they're 6-3 in conference. I think that's going to be a tough game for Charleston with regards to that. And so it'll be interesting to see if how that happens with regards to them. It should be a fascinating situation with regards to that. Jeff Johnson is here. I'm gonna let him in. I'm waiting to make sure he looks good to go. Give me a thumbs up, Jeff, if you're ready. All right, he's good. He's ready to rock. All right. So we're gonna welcome Jeff. What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Oh, bruh, listen, daddy life, man. Hey, listen, I just got yelled at for not getting my wife her whole food order, and I brought her some Subway cookies, and she's like, "I don't want no cookies." Like, so, you can't win in this business, bro. Can't win.
No, I get it, man. So I hope everything's well on your end.
No, we're good. It's just, it's like when you got twins on the way, man. It's like, yeah. So,
have fun with that.
Yeah. I literally just left my home where they're remodeling my home, and but it is what it is. That's life, bro.
So we're talking about basketball right now.
Sure.
We're on the women's side.
Yeah.
We already talked about the men. I guess we can. Before, let me finish talking about the women real quick. Let me just finish talking about the women because we didn't go over OVC.
Okay.
I know the ladies of Tennessee State are they're still over here. Let me see here. So if I can find the scoreboard for them. So the Tennessee State ladies, the Lady Tigers, they're 1-10 in the conference.
Ooh.
Overall. They lost to Little Rock on January 30th, 67-60. And they're 2-2 overall because they got their second win against SEMO, 70-62 over SEMO. So they're 2-10 in the OVC. They're 6-16 overall. I know that they're growing, and I know they're growing. I mean, they're building. their program. They're rebuilding their program. They got a brand new coach. So there's just going to be a level of patience that's going to have to happen with Tennessee State with regards to that. The next game they have up while Jeffrey gets it rocking. The next game they play Western Illinois, who is 6-6 in conference, 12-9 overall. And then after that, they play Lindenwood, which is 14-7, 10-2 overall.
Yeah, they're 14-7, and Eastern Illinois and SIU. I mean, that's probably the only respite they get.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's a rough season for the Lady Tigers. So I want to talk to you, man. We're gonna I mentioned it at the start of the show, but I want to get your perspective on a few things.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on the Southern? And I wish Brandon was here, and Brandon will probably pop up. But what are your thoughts about what's going on with the Southern Heritage Classic? Looks like Tennessee State's not going to be in it, and I guess they announced their Legacy Classic against Alabama A&M. So
you know what?
Get your perspective on it.
This is my thing. Tennessee State has always been a staple in that classic. So now, the fact that they're not in it, it's almost like I remember when the Atlanta Classic was in Atlanta, and it was always FAMU and Tennessee State, and like the city literally would make plans like years before about that, and so Tennessee State not in it. It's just something that it's just like. It's it's one of the most odd things that I would say that happens. The fact of the matter is just like, now, why are they not in it though? What is backstory?
I didn't talk about the details, but what it ultimately boiled down to is that they just couldn't come to an agreement. The bottom line is they Fred Jones and the good folks at the Secretary of Heritage Classic offered them $400,000.
Okay.
And it becomes a thing where, is there any value added, or is there what's going back to the schools? Is that enough to do everything that you need to do? That's because you expect the band, you expect them to be there 3 days. Like that's expenses. So it's also about what the university can clear, like from from a funding standpoint. Like I think the way of and I've said this in the past, I think the way of the classics, if they're not ready to bring in the money that's needed, things are going to go away because the expenses aren't getting cheaper. The expenses are getting higher. And I understand it's getting higher on the other side of the spectrum too. Yeah. But this is one of the bigger classes that they have. And
it's a huge class. Now, let me ask you this. So that classic, is it held in Memphis or?
It's held in Memphis.
Okay. So it's held in Memphis, which, like, literally, it is overnight for them, but it's not that bad.
But it's still, it's funny because A&T kind of got out the classic, like they still do they'll do Aggie Eagle, and they had to do MEAC Swag Challenge when they were in the MEAC, but they kind of got out of the classic formula a long time ago. They don't really, like, we call our games classics, but like from the standpoint of like the promoter and all that. Like when they went back to do the Duke's Mayo Classic in 2022, a lot of Aggies were kind of like, wow, they're back in the game, because we didn't really do that too often.
You know what though? I always felt like if the classic model is just maybe a 1-day model, then I could definitely understand it. But we're talking about a 3-day model.
Yeah, for Duke's Mayo Classic, they would have to be there a day or two prior to the game. But it was good for the students too, right? Like when A&T and the school down the road did the Duke's Mayo Classic, it was great for the students.
Sure.
And it also was great for the economy of Charlotte, to the point where I heard rumors that they wanted to do it every year.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But we'll see what happens after 2027, because 2022 the school down the road handled the contract. 2027 A&T handles the contract. Okay. So when we do it in 2027, we'll see. Okay. And we'll figure out how it goes.
Isn't this a great recruiting tool for Tennessee State? That's what I wonder. I mean, is this something that they benefit from, I would say, maybe the next year or two with enrollment?
Well, I think that I would say, because you got to remember the other side of that Southern Heritage Classic is also Jackson State. Like they play Jackson State more in that game than pretty much anybody else, pretty much, right? Yeah. So I know Tennessee State, just kind of like when you talk about the Orange Blossom Classic, which is now also coming back. They're going to be playing. FAMU's going to be playing. Florida A&M has joined it, came back, and they're going to be playing Howard for that game.
Yeah.
There's some teams where there's a staple involved.
Yeah.
You kind of don't have a Southern Heritage Classic without Tennessee State in it.
No, I totally agree. Now, I do like $400,000. That does seem a little bit low.
That's low, man.
Yeah, and I don't think that. Honestly,
and that's 400 total, right? That ain't 400 in the clear. So like minus expenses and everything else it takes to, and then you want the band there.
No.
Yeah, so like when you start looking at what it takes,
Yeah.
then you're like, all right, now you're not paying enough for this.
Yeah, it's not. And then Tennessee State's not a small band. You know,
No, they're a Grammy Award-winning band.
Yeah, award-winning. Yeah, and so I don't. I think the payout it doesn't justify the 3 days. I'm sorry. So
and the beauty of it is now that we're bringing back a old rivalry game with Tennessee State and Alabama A&M. They did a 4-year deal for that weekend. So like Tennessee State ain't gonna be in that game for 4 years.
Yeah. I mean,
minimum, if the game even comes back, right? We don't even know what's going to happen at this point. What's the plan going to be? Are they going to try to do a different set of teams? Are they going to try to do what the Orange Blossom Classic does and try to do it without Tennessee State or Jackson State in the game?
You got to have at least one. I mean, and that to me is like it doesn't work without because those fan bases are familiar. That area is familiar with those two schools. So I don't know. It's like it would be kind of ugly if it's Alcorn and Delaware State. You know, it's like, or it has no like they don't have any familiarity with any of those institutions. So I could see if it was maybe a one-off, if it was Jackson State and maybe Morgan or Jackson or Tennessee and something like Southern. You know, those are pretty big name programs, but I just don't see the payout for any of it, or for 3 days. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the big thing for me. And what are your thoughts on the HBCU Las Vegas Classic? Like they're gonna have Jackson State and Grambling going out to Vegas.
Yeah, I think that will be great. And I think the West is a great frontier for HBCUs now, because just watching the Honda Battle of the Bands out there,
yeah, man,
it was well attended. It was well attended, and I know they've had the Battle of the Bands out there in Vegas before, but for this one, in California before, but I felt like this one was the one that I think a lot of folks paid attention to. So I think the West is a untapped resource for HBCUs now.
Yep. So it'll be interesting.
Those two good programs too, going out there. Two good representative programs too.
Yeah, and here's the kicker. Here's the kicker about it. From what I understand, the deal was the SWAC with Las Vegas, so it's gonna be fascinating to see. They might do a rotation on that ordeal, depending on how it goes. So it's gonna be fascinating. But Jackson State and Grambling are like the perfect. The only other game that I would see within the SWAC that would like be really crazy would be Jackson Southern. But we know that that's gonna be a hard one to do because of how big that game is. But Jackson State and Grambling, those are like the two perfect programs to go out there. Just to jumpstart this classic.
Yeah, because you're going to get alums that are going to come out there quickly. Then you're going to get the locals are going to come out there. And then the people who are just intrigued, who might be in Vegas for the weekend, So all around, I love it. And plus, both, I would say, have pretty good marquee bands. So it's a good recruiting tool all the way around.
I completely agree. All right. As much as $400K is indeed a low ball offer for a 3-day commitment from the schools, does anyone know how much Fred has been clearing from the Southern Heritage Classic? I have no idea.
Nah.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
But my response is always this. If you're in the business of doing that type of work, you got to take care of the schools that are coming here putting in the work to make it happen.
Yeah.
So and I understand it's a business and he has to make money too, and I get all that. But you don't have money without our brands.
No, absolutely not.
You don't have money without our brands.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. And so if you come to the point where you feel like, well, I can't pay all, I'm not clearing enough to cover it, then maybe this is a different business. Maybe you need to call FedEx and see if you can get you some more money. or maybe this ain't what you want to be, and that's fine. Like that's okay. And I think it's a renowned classic, and I think a lot of folks love going to that game. I've never gone to the Southern Heritage Classic, but I've heard phenomenal things about the game and about the event.
Yeah.
So, but I think I hear phenomenal things about everybody else's homecomings. But what's going back to the schools?
Nothing. Nothing.
Like so what it boils down to for me is it's about what the schools can do. Like it's still a business because it's a business for you as the promoter to make sure that you make money.
Absolutely. And hold on.
It works on the other side too.
And this is a crazy thing. Why in the world? I mean, does Alabama or Georgia have to deal with a promoter when it comes to these games? Like every time I think of the idea of promoter, I think of like I'm going to the club or something. So it's just that
I think they might have corporate sponsors because like when A&T did when they did the Duke's Mayo Classic, I mean there were sponsors everywhere for that. Like the Charlotte Sports Foundation was involved in that, and
I just hate the term promoter when it talks about a sporting event, though.
I mean because you know what you got to blame for that, right? Boxing.
Yeah.
You got to blame boxing, man. You got to put some of the heat on boxing for that one, because I question what the promoter do for that.
Yeah, so
I question it. I always have.
Yeah, and so I mean, this is my whole thing. Everybody keeps talking about the 400,000. If you think about it, allegedly, the Tennessee State former Tennessee band director, my high school band director, was what they say caught stealing allegedly. So of course they need more funds. So I
mean, and the thing is too is that nowadays when you start making a decision about having these games, whether it's a classic or a money game, you got to decide if a home and home is more beneficial. Like the home and home option is always going to be an option, particularly when you're playing when two HBCUs are going up against each other. Yeah. Like Jackson and Tennessee State could clear what they were getting.
Oh yeah.
If they did a home and home, they could clear it.
Yeah, Jackson will clear. I don't know about Tennessee State.
Not because Jackson State travels.
Okay,
for example, right? Like A&T and Tennessee State are playing this year. We're playing in Nashville for the John Mayer Classic. We're already making plans to head out there. Like we already got the alumni base rocking. There ain't gonna be no issue with attendance at that game.
Right, yeah.
And it's the John Mayer Classic, so that's one of the games that Tennessee State does come to go see.
Yeah.
So it ain't gonna be no attendance problem. It's been a long time since A&T's played North Tennessee State.
Yeah,
folks want to see it.
Yeah.
So that ain't gonna be like I'm waiting. I gotta check and see when the tickets go on sale so I can go get mine. That's the only thing I'm missing at this point. I already got my flight. I already got my hotel. I just need my plane ticket. I just need my game ticket at this point. That's all I need at this point.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm just, I just try to keep it simple when it comes to that. But now, I mean, there's been a lot of news that's happened since we had our last show.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, a lot of schedules have come out. I didn't want to get into discussing about some of the schedules because some of them officially got dropped today with the news of the new Legacy Classic.
Yeah.
So so there's more schedules being dropped, which is good. We're still waiting on some MEAC schedules. So that'll be,
Well, they probably just begging for some money. So
come on, man, don't be out here throwing all the shade on the conference.
No, of course I know Norfolk State begging for money, man. So I mean, they don't need to beg no more. They don't
have to beg no more now. They got
Vic over there now.
They got a walking promoter over there.
He ain't no promoter. He's just too quiet, man.
We're gonna see, man. But I think his aura is gonna help more than anything else, right? Because I saw that they already got the Vic jerseys rocking. They're getting ready to sell the Vic jerseys, so that should help if they get them out on the streets.
Look, on the streets. You said it correctly. On the streets.
Oh, here you go.
No, I'm just keeping. No, okay. No, keep it. No. But I do like some. Now you took a lot of our coaches. So
I saw that. Don't worry. We took a coach from Howard at A&T.
Oh,
we took some coaches from Howard school down the road. We going everywhere.
Yeah. But I think the biggest benefactor that nobody talks about is the fact that he got Tommy Riemann in his corner, because if anybody knows 757 football, Tommy Riemann is a legend there, and he can get all those. If he can get a lot of the 3-star and the 2-star to 3-star kids, into Norfolk State, that would really turn that program around quickly. So. But he does have good people around him. I give him that.
Mike, I completely agree.
Yeah.
The key is $400K plus expensive paid, and that's the problem. There's no expenses paid. Like if they were $400K in the clear, that ain't bad.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Ain't bad.
Yeah.
In the clear, as in expenses covered, and you walk out with $400,000. That ain't bad for 3 days. That ain't bad, but that ain't what they're doing. They're just offering them $400K, and they got to pay for all expenses.
Yeah, $400K to house and feed a band, a football
And the
team,
football team,
and a support staff. No,
for 3 days.
You come back to when they get back to Nashville, their account gonna be at $35, man. I'm telling you. So,
well, Jackson, part of the reason why they left in the first place was because of finances.
Of course, Jackson has a huge payroll. Crazy. No, that's just bad.
But all right, man. I guess I need to talk about this basketball situation with gambling. So we're gonna do that after the break.
All right.
I wanted to wait till one of you guys showed up. So, all right. So when we come back, we're gonna talk about what's going on at A&T with the whole situation of suspended players and the gambling. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to give some brevity to it. So we'll be back.
Okay.
This is Inside HBCU Sports Lab, the Indy Report.
All right.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta CAVIL of Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. CAVIL'S Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to episode 620 of Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, the Indy Report. So, man, I'll tell you what, man, if I would have told you we were going to take a break for 2 weeks, and I come back, and I have 2 of my top 3 scorers suspended, and then days after the suspension, an SI article comes out, or it was the ESPN article that comes out about 3 college programs being involved in a gambling ring. You wouldn't believe me, but here we are. So first to clear the room. So I don't want to really discuss the details about why those 3 basketball players were suspended. I do know why based on my sources, but I don't want to discuss that. But that being said, I will say this: the 2 situations between the reason why those players got suspended and the articles that have come out revolving the gambling ring, that wasn't the reason why that happened. They broke team rules, and it was unsaid how they broke team rules. And 2 of our top scorers are pretty much done indefinitely, but it had nothing to do with the gambling situation that's going on. Now, that being said, for those who aren't aware, There's been some articles that come out about the gambling ring. There's a federal investigation that started into alleged game fixing. There's also placed multiple men's game fixing with 2 NBA players. Has also placed multiple men's college basketball programs under scrutiny. The games this season include Eastern Michigan and North Carolina A&T, and Mississippi Valley State is also a part of the probe as well. It's just the timing of everything that happened with the suspended players, and then this article coming out. Folks are saying it's 2 and 2 together, and I'm here to tell you that is not the case. They reached out to athletic director Earl Hilton, and he said that he couldn't talk about why the players got suspended because of the privacy issue. They reached out to Coach Ross and Coach Monty Ross, the head basketball coach in North Carolina A&T, and they asked him if there was, and he said no, and he hung up on him. And that's according to the article. So the bottom, he pretty much said that is not, and I quote, that is not accurate, and he hung up. He hung up on him. So those two aren't together. I think the big thing, the game that was in question was the A&T game against Delaware. The point spread on the first half, for those who know what point spreads is, typically there's always like a team that is given points based on what the expectation is for that particular game. It could be like, so if I say 2.5, if I say Delaware minus 2.5, that means they're 2.5 point favorites against A&T. So the contest against Delaware, the point spread on the first half moved from Delaware being favored by 2 points to Delaware being favored by 3.5. That was out of proportion to the full game spread of 4.5 points, drawing the attention of gambling monitoring services. Now, the thing is, when it comes to like point spreads and things of that sort, and when it comes to people who like gamble, and I'll give a disclaimer, I'll dabble occasionally when it comes to betting games. I primarily focus on fantasy sports with regards to that. But that being said, a lot of times, a lot of teams, a lot of bettors tend to lean towards teams that aren't good. And like Eastern Michigan at this point was 10-11. A&T and Mississippi Valley State have combined to win 7 games. So that is what you fall into when you're not that good of a basketball program. And right now A&T is 0-10, 0-11 in the conference. So they're on pace to not win a game in the conference. If we didn't beat the school down the road, we'd be staring at a potential 26 game loser streak if we don't win a game in the conference.
Monty Ross.
Yeah, look, man, I can have the whole discussion point about that, but I kind of expressed myself on MD last week regarding Coach Ross and my thoughts, and I can just cut it short and sweet with regards to it tonight. What just occurred with the football coach, not winning a conference game in 2 years? You got to ask yourself the question: is it okay to not win a conference game for an entire basketball season?
No. I mean, because we do have some really cellar dwellers in the CAA, which are not good programs. And I mean, even we have struggled with them too. So, I mean, trust me, you guys have been the meat of our wins in the CAA.
Oh yeah, 2 out of the 3 is from us.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. And Delaware is a cellar program, so it's not like we're doing well, So I mean, but I would say we have been very competitive. But as far as the gambling goes, Mississippi Valley State, I can see. Ena Bina is close to Tupelo, where they love the game down there. So I mean that I get that. But the fact that they're because I didn't know this little wrinkle that a lot of sport gamblers look for, I would say, programs that are not doing so well.
It's easier money.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because the thing is that if you got a program, because the thing is, the goal for the books is to make it even on both ends of the spectrum, right? Yeah. So the line's going to move based on which side is betting the most. So you can see the line shift crazy depending on what it is. And that's why you see some spreads much higher, because they want to have that even on both ends. Like if you have, like, let's say A&T versus Delaware was like -10, some people might march to go to the +10 and take the A&T. or they might just take the -10 if A&T is that bad. So like it all depends
Yeah.
on where it is. And A&T's like I'm curious to see if they're going to take A&T games off of the line because some might do that because they'll do that too because they're not in the business. Goes back to talking about the classics. Nobody's in the business of losing money.
No. Now the question is, I mean, because I know this is a federal pro, which is Fed time. When the Fed's involved, that means
Man. Like my theory about the Feds has always been this: they're undefeated.
Yeah.
If they've gotten to the point where they're doing a probe on you,
Yeah.
it ain't looking good for your chances.
Yeah.
But I think it's more, but I don't know. But I think the big concern is that it's not, I think there's going to be some level of confusion because it's not, this doesn't assume that A&T did anything wrong. Mississippi Valley did anything wrong.
Exactly.
I think they're just part of the ordeal, right? It just so happens they're the games.
Yeah, they're the game. It's like it had nothing to do with A&T or Mississippi Valley State. It had to be with the other program. But even if that's the case, why name like an A&T or a Mississippi Valley State?
Well, they named the three schools that were part of the probe, right? Eastern Michigan was also the third. Just so happened two of them are HBCUs.
If one of the schools actually did it, I mean, or if you had, I don't know. I don't like the name. To me, this is my thing. Why name the school until when you haven't either shown the burden of proof or actually have gone to a trial? So I just do not like mudslinging before the facts are out.
No, I'm with you.
And
but now here's the thing that fascinates. So, and hey Brandon, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah.
Mike Reed said how Valley is under anybody's FEI scrutiny is beyond me. They've only scored 60 points and no more than 5 times this season. But the irony of that is those are the type of analytics that you look into.
Yeah.
You're like, well, they've only scored 60 points. What's the over under for Mississippi Valley State?
Yeah.
and that's how you make money in this.
Yeah.
You play the odds. Play the analytics.
Exactly. And you can just look at their players. Them players they're not doing anything. Just slide them some money. Let me stop.
Well, the thing is now, so the thing is now it becomes fascinating.
Yeah.
Now you have NIL. Now you have all these other factors that are involved in this, and now you have more places that you can gamble. Most states nowadays you can just gamble on your phone. So you can. So it's different now. It ain't just locked in Vegas like it used to be.
Yeah.
Like there was a time where they would never put a professional sports team in Vegas. And now we're getting them like they're talking about putting a baseball team there. They're talking about
they got hockey there. They got
they got an NFL team there. Like there was a time where that was like the ultimate sin. No teams in Sin City, and now they're everywhere.
Yeah, Pete Rose would have probably OD'd in Vegas. Rest in peace.
Mr. King, are you available, sir? How you doing, sir?
You hear my co-host in the background here.
Oh my God, you scaring me because I got it
coming. Get ready.
He's preparing you for what's to come.
Man, y'all ain't gonna see me on this thing, man.
Well, this is a look into your future. That's why I got my camera turned off because I don't want to see the crying and the drooling and the slobbering and all that jazz.
Oh man. Is the other one asleep?
Yes.
Okay.
So I got ready, had both of them sleep.
Yeah.
At 5:52.
Yep.
Braylon, I'm sorry. Gigi pops up. She's ready for action. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Their timing is always the most impeccable.
Oh boy.
Yes, I'm talking about you. Yes, I am.
Oh God. My wife is like
all right
across from me. She hears.
All right. With about 5 minutes, look at that. That's what's up.
My God. Oh my God, she's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
At least she got the binky in, man. You good? If they a binky kid, you gonna be all right.
This thing's a lifesaver. Between that, and Jeff, Gracie's Corner. Get familiar with that because it will be a lifesaver.
You said Gracie's Corner?
Yes, it's a YouTube channel. They like
okay.
They like dress up nursery rhymes and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, if you need a few minutes, hop on Gracie's Corner. They never let you down.
Appreciate you.
You're gonna need it all. So, what's your thought? Since you're here, Brandon, I'll ask you this question. I know we just got into the probe with A&T, but what are your thoughts of the Subject Heritage Classic going bye bye, and the Legacy Classic saying hello?
Okay, so honestly, if I'm being the realest of the real, I'm not really that surprised. Um, Having attended the game a couple times as a fan, and then a couple times as a media, particularly the past 2 years, you could really see a sharp decline in the attendance, in the interest, because like that first year that not PB
UAPB.
Pine Bluff couldn't get
Yeah.
it out, was in there. I know they was talking about 32,000 people was at this, but I was there. I don't know where they hid them 32,000 people. I don't know.
That's who bought. That's who bought. That's who bought the tickets.
So I don't know if they cooking the books like like some of them AEW attendance numbers. I don't know, but I don't know where them 32,000 people were.
But you know what you could. But you know what Tennessee State could have done. They could have leveraged the fact that there was 32,000 people in there, so we deserve a bigger cut of what the expenses are. Since there's 32,000 people that's coming to this game against UAPB.
This is true, but here, you know what? I'm probably going to make some of my fellow Tigers mad, but I got to keep it all the way real. Sometimes we don't travel as good as we should.
I went at it with some of your guys, one of your Tigers on Twitter, and I had to let them know, like, I was like, y'all travel, but y'all ain't us, y'all ain't Jackson when it comes to that.
Because I'll be honest, and I know we're up against it, but I even when dating back to the Atlanta Classic, because I said to my pops at the time after we were going over the years, and I'm like, every year it's more of this god awful green and orange in the stands, and it was a couple years. I'm like, dude, are we at Bragg? I felt like it was a home game, so I thought with Jackson State leaving, that would have been a chance for us to really kind of pack out the stadium, because then you can go back and say to the promoters, well, look, we are clearly the A side of this equation and we deserve more. But I think we didn't do that. So I mean, looking at where it was, particularly last year, it was sparse in there. It was real sparse. And it was even the overall experience of covering the game, because for those of you who aren't familiar, it takes place at the Liberty Bowl. They're doing construction and they've torn down where the press box was in previous years. So they had us over in the suites, and while that was cool, the food was a little bit better. Trying to actually cover a game is a little different, because there's more panels in the windows. You got to look and see how the seating was. So even from a press standpoint, it was different, and it didn't seem like there was as much buzz and things of that around the game. So I'm not totally surprised. Um, I'm glad they kind of pivoted to this Alabama A&M thing. You get the home and home. You get that home game, and Huntsville ain't but a hop, skip, and a jump away
Hour
from
away.
Nashville, like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that's within drivable distance, and they're A&M. Well, we'll see what they're going to be, and they got the new coach and everything, so we'll see how that turns out. But I think that was a wise pivot, and you still have that HBCU matchup that the Tennessee State fan base is absolutely starving for. So
I think I'm gonna try. Like they play in Nashville the first game this year, I believe,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to pull up to Huntsville next year. I'm gonna try. If long as Aggie Eagles gonna be in Durham. I don't typically go when they play in Durham, so I'll probably try to. If this is the same weekend, I'll probably try to pull up to that in Huntsville. Cause I'm going to Nashville this year because we're gonna take over your stadium. I just want you to know that. I know John Mayer's a big game for y'all, but we're gonna have to take that thing over.
Well, we'll show you some hospitality and hang a L on you.
I just need to know. Well, listen, man, I ain't ready to be talking about L's quite yet. Okay.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you're supposed to be used to it by now, man.
Nah, I ain't. Look, man, you never get used to L's. Look, I mean, Coach Gibbs has done a pretty good job with their coaching staff. I think we got 19 recruits that came, 19 signed today.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest class I can remember, which says a lot, by the way.
You mean big as in size or just talent?
No, like the number of players, and it looks like they got some pretty good talent on it. Like I haven't I did a quick glance of who we got from the high school side of the fence and some of the transfers. One thing I'll say I would have liked to see more defensive linemen, but we got some. But the big key was we need to fix our offensive line, and we got some pretty good offensive linemen. We got some folks that had some experience, even at the D2 level, that started and played. So it'll be interesting to see. It's fascinating. Like the previous coach, he didn't bring anybody from William and Mary.
Yeah,
he didn't bring anybody from William and Mary. That should have been the first sign, right?
Yeah.
He didn't bring anybody from William and Mary.
Yeah.
He brought like Coach Gibbs brought some folks from Fort Valley.
Which I'm kind of I have reservations about. You know,
That's
Fort
fair.
Valley, CAA, that is a big jump.
But if you're bringing offensive linemen or defensive linemen and they have the proper size, I'm not mad at it. And the guys that you brought in, he's got the proper size, and we got one of the best offensive line coaches in all of FCS.
I give you Ron. I love Ron Mattis.
Man. So if I see him having offensive linemen in his class, I'm not worried about him because we got Mattis.
Yeah,
they're gonna be correct.
I just don't have quarterbacks.
Well, it's funny because I think we grabbed two. We signed two.
Yeah.
I already and I told the Aggie faithful this earlier today. I anticipate one of our current quarterbacks hitting the portal in the spring. I anticipate it. It's a matter of which one.
Yeah,
because I think we're going to be up to 5 or 6 now. So I think
you got to flush out the game because I mean, what we saw at that quarterback position was putrid the past couple of years. So
the one thing that I'll say, is that sometimes we forget that coaching matters, and I think that was a big problem with that program last year. Besides other things too, there's other things that's going on in the program, but I think the coaching the last 2 years, I think the coaching side of the fence was. I'm trying to come up with a good SAT word for this one. Was very distant from what they had in the past. I'll roll with that. It's not an SAT word. I'm gonna roll with that.
I wouldn't call it distant. I mean, I said it, and you fought me for a while when I said Lee Fops 2.0. So, I mean, you guys have dealt with this before.
But the key of a head coach is the staff that you put on around that you hire.
I mean,
and that's the question, right?
Yeah.
He never was and the thing is some coordinators just aren't good head coaches. He's never been a head coach.
Yeah. He's a good coordinator, but he just couldn't coach. But he just couldn't build anything, though. I'm surprised that Eddie George is still at Tennessee State. I thought he would have been gone by now.
Well, we found out. I found out later that the Bears interview was a Rooney Rule interview, and they already knew who they wanted.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, I thought they already hit their 2 because they interviewed Thomas Brown and Ron Rivera, but I learned that Thomas Brown didn't count because Thomas Brown was already on the staff.
Oh,
so it's gonna be 2 external.
Yeah.
So Ron Rivera, Eddie George, they clear. They hire Ben Johnson. Yeah. All right. I need to close the show because I don't want to get fined. Thank you for listening to Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. I am David L. Rose with Jeffrey Johnson and Brandon King. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, and make sure you check out Brandon King at sneakershoptalk.com, and make sure you follow Dr. Cavill at where's his Twitter handle? At Dr. Kenyatta Cavill on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And make sure you follow Inside HBCU Sports Lab on Facebook and Inside HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big and continue to move forward. We'll talk to you soon. Jeff.
Course.
Brandon.
Lecture.
Dismissed. See you guys. Y'all have a good one.